Hustle Podcast, brought to you by the Strength Emporium. Guys, we got a special treat today. It's just me and Caleb. Mr. Genghis John himself is not available this evening. What's happening, Caleb?
What is up, Zach? Magic Zach.
Man, I'm feeling good, dude. It's just another Friday, man. I've been enjoying the week, and man, I was really looking forward to getting just me, you, and Jonathan on the podcast again, and just to bullshit and have a good time. But Jonathan can't make it. We're just going to hold it down.
This is a special treat for people too, because most people don't get that much of me in an
That's
episode.
true. That's very true.
I try to let you guys finish your sentences. It's hard for me.
You're really good at it, man. You let everyone talk, and then you add your.
I look real patient on the outside, but on the inside, I'm dying a little with every word.
On the inside, you're just like, must speak now.
Yeah.
Nah, you come in greatly, man, and even the last podcast, man. I mean, I'm pretty sure we laughed the whole last 20 minutes just specifically because of you.
That was fun times.
That was really good, man. You been picking up any more rocks lately?
I have. So yes. So we talked all that shit about the rocks, and then on Monday we had this beautiful weather in Tulsa.
Yes,
and I'm like,
amazing.
My knees jacked up right now. Can't really do jits. I was like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna cycle up to the river. I'm gonna go look for some stuff, and I ended up finding 2 really old points, and had them verified by people that know what they're talking about. Did some research, and so it was great. I also found, just some bullshit in the river. I was telling you, I found an old cell phone. I was holding that thing, and my phone rang. It scared the shit out of me. It's like,
didn't know what the hell was going on, huh?
No, man. But I kind of wanted to riff on something for a minute. I was kind of thinking about how knowledge is power, and we'll get back to some more practical forms of this because I want to bring up a jiu-jitsu point. But I want to tell this story. All my coworkers have heard it. I don't think I've told it on here, but as an artist and someone that maybe sees things a little bit different, things are not always as obvious for me, like as they might be for some people, or you take some things for granted. Like, I'm really good at figuring some stuff out, but it doesn't mean that I understand basic things all the time.
Yeah.
So when I was a kid, I was like 12. I was hanging out with my buddy, and let me back up a little bit. So you know how, like, when you're a kid, your mom gives you a shower or a bath, whatever, like you get out, she towels you off.
Yeah.
Like, all right, get you dressed, you're done. Well, at some point, your dad's like, all right, now you go take a bath.
Time for you to do it on your own.
Maybe they assume you know what to do.
Yeah.
I don't know. Apparently, I didn't know what to do. And so I don't know if it was from that or from, like, I'd see, moms will, like, wrap themselves in a towel and wrap a towel around their head and come out and scream at you a little bit. Yeah. And I saw that. And so I don't know when, I remember specifically as I got older, it was worse, but I would get up early for school. Like 5:30 in the morning by 6th grade. And I'd take a shower and I'd sit on the edge of the tub. I'd wrap myself in a towel and I'd just sit there.
Really?
And wait to dry. I got up early to dry off because I didn't realize.
Because you weren't sure how the towel thing was.
I didn't understand how a towel was supposed to work. So I'm up at 5:30. Like, man, this takes for. I remember just sitting on the edge of the tub, like tapping my fingers, reading the back of the shampoo bottle. Because we got, you got nothing to look at then.
You got nothing, man. No phones to look at. It was the good old days.
Calvin and Hobbes books or something,
Yeah, man.
So my buddy Ryan came over to swim. We had this pool. We're in the backyard, and we decided we're hungry. Like, let's go inside and get something to eat. And we get out, and I wrap myself in a towel, and I'm just sitting there. And he comes over to me all dry, and he's like, all right, let's go. And I was like, well, I'm not dry. How are you already dry? He's like, I used my towel. I was like, well, I'm using my towel too. And he's like, no, you're not.
You just have it wrapped around you.
I was like, well, what do you mean? And he's like, like motion, like, you dry it off. I was like, hold on. You mean to tell me
that this towel thing it doesn't just swaddle me. It actually dries me off.
You know, and I don't remember like ever just wrapping my hands in a towel after I washed my hands or something. Like,
Yeah.
just something didn't connect.
Didn't connect there, huh?
Might be the story of my life.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So this knowledge is power thing. Like I didn't know. Nobody. So, you know, you don't know what you don't know,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody's running around with some kind of like towel situation.
Oh,
on
that's a
some level,
great point.
right?
Yeah, for sure, man. Oh my goodness, that's 100% true.
I was kind of thinking about this jiu-jitsu stuff because I don't remember what it's like at this point to be in a room full of people and feel on some level physically terrified of like what might happen. Partially because I'm a big guy. I've been doing martial arts for a long time.
Yeah, no doubt.
And then especially like with the jiu-jitsu and getting healthy again, like another level. But I do remember a time where I was terrified of physical confrontation, even though I was head and shoulders over everybody.
Yeah, you're so much bigger than and I've always been
to
so
my
much bigger
to my
than
peers. Yeah.
everyone. I mean, you're what, 6'4",
Yeah.
320, 330?
Oh, I mean,
350.
sometimes 340 right now.
340,
Yeah,
okay.
whatever. But yeah. So in 6th grade, I was head and shoulders over everybody. And there were some kids that, you know, because back in this is like mid 90s, and everything in the news was about gangs. Like,
Yeah,
the media
it
was trying
huge,
to.
dude.
That's what they were trying to terrify you with.
Yeah, they were. I remember being in Omaha and everyone talking about the gangs. I was hanging out with my cousins, and it was a whole big deal. We never saw them; they were on completely the other side of town.
Yeah.
But the gangs things in the '90s was that was a real deal.
Yeah, so we had these, you know, a few kids in this real preppy. It was public school, but it was a preppy part of the city, and so there wasn't really much going on. But there were kids that would dress, you know, like baggier clothes and try to talk and act tough, and
Dickies and white shirts,
and the gym socks with the shorts.
Yeah,
and I pulled that look too. But I was
you
a skater.
did.
Well, I was a skater.
Oh yeah,
so
yeah. That did blend over into the skater
yeah.
look too. I wore the Dickies, but I never had the socks.
Yeah. Well, I went with my friend Brian skating around, which I was horrible at skating, but we went skating around and we skated by the school, and there were a couple of kids, 3 or 4 kids. One of them was a big kid, but he was real weak. He was real heavy. And at one point he hit me in the hallway and it didn't hurt at all. And I was like, oh, why was I scared of this? But a couple weeks before that, me and my buddy are skating around. It's like a Saturday afternoon, Sunday afternoon. And we skate by this group of kids sitting in like a drainage ditch, and they wave at us, or maybe they say something trying to confront us. I don't know, but I don't remember if we flipped them off or we just waved hi, but they got up and like started chasing us, and they were like, we're going to kick these kids' ass.
Yeah.
And we took off running, and my buddy Brian was tiny, but we both had skateboards, and I was huge, but I'd never been in a physical confrontation. And I was so scared, because I just saw what I saw in the news and watching New York Undercover and stupid like 21 Jump Street.
Oh
whatever.
yeah, man.
And I'm like, oh man,
I don't know how to fight.
I'm gonna get shot.
Yeah.
And so these kids chased us all over this neighborhood. And at one point, we find a guy standing out in front of his house, working in his garage, and we're like, hey, these kids are chasing us. Can we hang out here for a minute? And he's like, sure. So he lets us stay there for like 5 minutes. And then as the kids walk around the block, he's like, you guys should probably take off. So we take off, but I was so terrified that these kids were going to find us that like I got lost in my friend's neighborhood, and I was hiding in bushes.
Oh my gosh.
Hiding behind people's fences. And it was like a couple of hours before I found my way either back to his house or his parents. I heard them screaming for me driving down with their window open.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like,
which used to be a real thing.
right. And it wasn't like if they had caught me, they might have punched me in the face a couple of times. Like it wouldn't have been a real beating.
No, not at all.
From these like wimpy 12-year-olds.
No,
who were not athletic,
at
but
all.
I didn't know.
Yeah, it was, bro. I had the exact same scenarios go on, man. I had this guy in high school that I got in a beef with over like we had split some weed, and like rolled up some joints, and I like smoked one of the joints without him or something. And it was like this huge ordeal. And this dude was like following me around with his friends, and like I was straight running from him, like, or just ducking him.
Yeah.
And man, I ran into him not too long ago, and I was just like, holy shit, this dude is tiny. Like, I mean, he literally couldn't hurt me if he like really wanted to. And man, it really speaks to like how important confidence is. And even just getting on the mats in jiu-jitsu and rolling with, you know, people your size, bigger, people smaller than you get humbled eventually no matter what. And man, just just knowing that you can do that makes you much more confident.
Well, then there's the balance too between doing that, and because some people are just confident, like watching a UFC fight, like, oh, I could beat McGregor. All I'd have to do is this and that. Yeah. I've studied the videos, and meanwhile, this guy never works out or does.
It has about 30 seconds of gas in the tank.
Yeah,
it's pretty funny.
I guess that's false confidence. That's, again, a lack of knowledge.
Oh, I hear it all the time, bro. Working, people are like, oh, bro, you don't want to see me when I start seeing red, dude. It's going to be over bodies are going to be dropping. And I'm like, okay, let's see.
Because your blood pressure's going through the roof? Like what? Are you talking about your body?
People just have Please
don't stroke out at the bar.
They've never been in a real physical altercation before. And, yeah, man, I lived my whole life like that, dude. And I begged my parents to let me learn karate. And, like, that's all I wanted to do, dude. Like,
did you watch Three Ninjas first?
Bro, I watched Three Ninjas. I watched everything, dude. Like, I was all about it. And my parents never would allow me to learn any sort of self-defense at all. My dad said that it would lead me to Eastern religion. And
that was a fear back then, man, for sure.
What, Eastern religion?
Yeah, in martial arts or yoga or any type of...
Really? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't even think yoga was in the picture.
No, it wasn't then.
But, yeah, even karate or meditation or any type of, like, internal, self-reflection that wasn't based in Christianity, people were terrified of it if you were in the Christian community.
Yeah, man. And because of that, man, I lived... Dude, my whole all the way from being a kid up through high school, and really, I mean, I didn't really get over it until, my 20s.
Yeah.
And I still dealt with it in my 20s from time to time, but the minute I started training jiu-jitsu and I started figuring out how to move, and that I was actually somewhat athletic, and, just how to defend yourself when something goes to the ground, it really changes your whole perception of confidence. And I really don't even, like, when I would bartend before I trained jiu-jitsu, man, I would be just straight rude to people. I'd be like, get the fuck out of here, you loser. And now I don't even get rude with people. I'm just like, hey, you've had too much, bro. This is nothing personal against you, but you have to go. You're fucked up. You can't do it, man. Like, I need you to just please leave. It's nothing personal.
Do you know what that is?
What?
That is, you know who Shere Khan is in the Jungle Book, the tiger?
Oh, of course.
All right. So Shere Khan is always the ultimate gentleman.
Yeah.
Always polite.
Yeah, but he's a killer.
Because he has the claws and teeth.
Yeah, exactly.
And he follows the rules.
Yeah. Follows the rules to the game, but if you step out of line, Shere Khan's there to straight smash you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's interesting that you bring up meditation and how scared everyone was of it, when we were growing up. And it reminded me of what Brian Glory said on our last podcast, man. And he said, prayer is me speaking to God. Meditation is allowing God to speak back to me. And that hit me hard, man. That was very profound. I totally agree. We all need to take that time to be quiet and to listen and to actually, start to distinguish what it sounds like when God's talking back to you.
I have no idea.
Really?
Because I grew up in a place where everybody, it was spirit filled, like Pentecostal,
Yeah.
non-denominational. So people would get up and like there'd be tongues and interpretation.
Oh
and there'd
yeah,
be,
I know all about
like
that.
all that kind of stuff. And people like, for me, it was, now this is a different side of listening to God, because that can mean a lot of things to different people. But it became like we were so dependent on, like I would like pray in tongues under my breath and wait for God to answer, like trying to decide what to order, if I should get cheese on my burger. Like, and it gets to a place where you're not even capable of just logically making decisions. And it's like, if there is a God, he gave you a brain to use to make those decisions.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
But I do think meditation and whether it's, it depends on how you want to describe it. But if you're, listening to God or just being, saying the Bible about the still small, quiet voice or
I'm not sure.
something about that. Like,
I'm not sure.
like basically taking time to be peaceful and mindful is where you're going to find your answers, and where you're like, it's not going to be a booming sign. Sometimes it is.
Yeah.
Like I had one of my good friends, Danny, because we kind of grew up in the same type of religious background, and he talks about going with the Boy Scouts, and he was like, teenager and leading a bunch of he had like 20, 30 kids with him or whatever. And there are a couple other older kids there, and they're supposed to meet on this one point to make camp. And they get like up on this one ridge and they can see the other, like the camp down below where they're supposed to go. And he's getting ready to tell them all to like start booking it downhill. Like, we're going to go set up camp. And he said it was the loudest and clearest no he's ever heard in his life. Like,
wow.
He didn't know where it came from. It was like, no, do not go down there. And he's still not sure if he heard like an audible voice or what, but they decided to do something else. And a couple hours later, there was a flash flood that came through and wiped out the entire camp.
Holy smokes.
Yeah.
Wow. That's I mean, I believe in that sort of stuff. And man, I grew up in the same sort of spirit-filled church with tongues and interpretations, and that kind of stuff that's where I started to get, I was like, I don't know, guys.
It gets a little wild, man.
It gets a little wild when someone's speaking tongues and then someone on the other side of the church stands up and says, yea, the Lord saith unto thee, and goes into something. That stuff kind of loses me, but sitting down and trying to listen to the voice of God, that's something I'm down with for sure, man.
Yeah.
And the more clear, I don't feel like I've ever heard like a very clear, like no, like that, It's
I mean, I think it would be weird if you heard it about regular stuff.
right.
Like, I don't know all the situations involving that, but it was real to my friend, and it's real to those kids that are still alive.
Yeah, no doubt.
But if you're like, just gonna order the wrong thing and they're gonna mess up your order at McDonald's, I don't think God's gonna be like, no.
Yeah, God doesn't care about your cheeseburgers. That's for sure.
Unfortunately for me and Jonathan,
He's like,
God does not care about our cheeseburgers.
Jonathan will be disappointed to hear that.
Speaking of cheeseburgers,
Okay.
so one time, Jonathan and one of our other buddies, we were hanging out, and it's like a Friday night. I'm trying to party, and there's this girl that I had met, and I got her number. This is a bigger gal, but I was like, you guys got to leave. This girl's coming over. And I think me and this other guy were kind of wasted. And so Jonathan went to like McDonald's, and I was like, bro, pick me up like 5 double cheeseburgers. I'm like 25. It's like, whatever.
Yeah.
So he comes home with this bag of burgers, and he's there, and my buddy's there. I'm trying to get them out the door before this girl shows up because she's a little different. And she shows up on a skateboard in a nun costume.
Whoa, strong play.
Yeah. And came in, and I had hid my cheeseburgers on top of the refrigerator because I was like not wanting to share them. I'm like, I'm going to mess around with this girl and then eat my cheeseburgers. And she saw the bag and just helped herself. She didn't even ask. Just ate one of my cheeseburgers.
Woo. That's quite a high crime.
Yeah.
Against humanity.
One of the few girls I didn't marry.
You're like, no, sorry, deal breaker girl, you ate my cheeseburger.
Gotta keep that McDonald's for myself, I guess.
Oh man, gotta get rid of that McDonald's, man. Oh,
Yeah, I don't eat stuff like that much anymore, but
sometimes I do. Like
Yeah.
the last time I got off work and was starving, I went to Whataburger and I regretted it very much the next day. It was not good at all.
I made a couple trips to Ron's last month. I hadn't been there in years.
Yeah.
Did I just no? I thought I lost my mic for a second.
Nah, you're good, bro. You're good. Yeah, man. So have you been enjoying yourself on the podcast, man?
Yeah, I've had a great time, man. It's been fun. It's been a learning experience, kind of
It has been a hell of a learning experience.
working out how to do it. It's definitely a skill.
It is a skill, man. Letting people finish what they're talking about and not jumping around erratically. It's definitely a skill.
So speaking of not jumping around erratically, what do you think about this whole Ukraine thing? At least it's weird to me that our media is pumping this pro-Ukraine thing so hard, which I have no problem with Ukraine. But I just feel like it's kind of wild that it's so heavy, like everyone's buying into it. I mean, and we've seen this with all kinds of different, there's like a thing of the month that happens in the world and everyone like changes their Facebook profile picture.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Like, but what's the real story? Like, why is the U.S. backing this? Like, why is all this? I don't get it. I don't know enough about it.
Yeah, I don't, dude. Honestly, I don't ever watch the news, never. Yeah. And the most TV I get is when I'm at work. The TVs but they're on sports all the time, and I could completely care less about sports.
Yeah.
As for the whole Ukraine thing, man, I really don't even know what the deal is. And whenever I see something on the mainstream. Like that, I always try to ask myself, what is the opposite of that? What's the complete opposite of what's going on? Like maybe possibly these Pfizer vaccine trials that have shown numerous side effects and are kind of interesting, but everyone's worried about World War III. I literally have gotten 3 separate texts from people talking about, oh my God, it's going to be World War III, Ukraine. And I literally don't even.
I'm so over being scared of World War III because I was scared of it most of my childhood.
I don't reply to any of that stuff.
No, well, growing up in that evangelical background, like there was a lot of teaching about Revelations and the apocalypse and this and that and the rapture. And like I would listen to preaching tapes of people preaching about like the end of the world when I was 5 years old. I'd be shaking, like terrified. I don't know why I was listening to this. Maybe my parents didn't know, or they thought it. I don't know. They're just like, oh, it's preaching, it's fine. But those are fantastical stories for a 5-year-old that has very little scope of like.
I think whether you're 5 or 35, you still have very little scope of what's
for sure
actually going on
with all these billions and billions of people.
Yeah, I mean, we have no clue what's going on.
That's what I was saying to someone the other day. I was like, I don't really, I mean, I care in the sense that altruistically, yeah, good. I care. Thanks. I care about other people. I want them to do well, but I don't have any agency over that. Like I can care about the people in my neighborhood, in my backyard. Like,
yes, for sure.
Try to be good to them.
Man, I really think it boils down to like, if we want change, man, we got to change ourselves, I mean, I think just like Jonathan sent us a picture on the group text of his plot where his garden's going to be. And I think even something as small as that, man, growing your own food, getting locally established with different farmers and all sorts of different stuff is really the kind of small changes we can make to actually have a community and not be so completely 100% dependent on the trucks coming and the government taking care of everything and, all that stuff. What you looking for, bud? What is that? Your vape?
Fan. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I was like trying to find it.
You don't have a lighter in there, do you?
Mm-hmm.
Can I see that?
Wait, I think I do. Hold on. Bro.
Hey, thank you, buddy. Yeah, man. Dude, we've been missing you at jiu-jitsu, though.
I know. I emailed Thomas today, and I was like,
You
man,
emailed Thomas? That's not how you're going to get a hold
I
of him.
Facebooked Thomas.
Okay.
And I was just like, man, I think I have to go, like, stop my subscription to the gym and just see what's going to happen the next few weeks. Maybe do month to month for a couple months, but I need probably 2 to 3 months of really getting serious about this sled and balance board work and getting this knee. Like, I've been doing a lot of cycling this week. Just the weather was so nice. I couldn't get myself inside the gym, but the cycling helps. But then, like one day I was hiking down the river and like slipped, and it was like,
you're out there looking for rocks and you slipped, didn't you?
well, no, just going down the bank to get in. Like,
it is steep. I've been down there.
Yeah, where I was going. But yeah, man, I'll get back. I miss it a lot. I miss rolling with everybody. It's nice to step back a little bit and not put so much pressure on myself, because it's like anytime I get a new thing that I'm really excited about, I put a lot into it for a while, which is good. You want some imbalance when you start something new, I think.
For sure. But does that lead to burnout every time?
It does if you don't mitigate it. Like at some point, I think it's good the first few months if you're doing a hobby or something to like dive into it, get to know it, and then rebalance it with your other routines and your other schedules.
Dude, I know personally I have been struggling with jiu-jitsu, man. I after
schedule wise, or like,
no, my schedule is totally fine, man. I got probably the most gravy train schedule.
What's the struggle?
Well, like my shoulder, dude. My shoulder, like after class, I did no gi and then gi on Wednesday, back to back. And bro, after class, my shoulder ached all night long, dude. It woke me up at 3 a.m, just aching, man. I had zero mobility. And it's not like I got caught in a Kimura or anything like that, or even arm locked for that. Well, I take that back. Susan did arm lock me, but I tapped early. Like, I'm not, I know Susan will break my arm if, she's legit.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, my shoulder, dude. And I'm just like, am I going to have to take time off? Like, how am I going to have to get surgery? How am I going to be able to get through this? Because it just seems absolutely hopeless the way it hurts. But then I got some sleep, I got a solid 8 hours of sleep, and I woke up the next morning and I was like, okay, it doesn't hurt like it did last night. So this is better, but I have to figure something out, man.
Well, two things. So one, the other week when I came in here and I was like, hey bro, you got any ibuprofen or anything? You were like, no. Nothing. And Jonathan just looked at me like I was stupid. And I was like, we are not 20 anymore.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with keeping some anti-inflammatories or some arthritis cream. Or
You're right. I got CBD oil.
Epsom salt baths. I don't know if you're doing that.
do have.
That is
man,
a great
I have Epsom salt, but you know what I think the real truth is the ice bath, man.
Yeah. I think, in that knees over toes guys was saying, like, you can overdo it on the ice too. I think it's good. I think I think the ice bath is great, but I think he's saying, especially coming from the knowledge I have about outpatient type treatments, there are people who will ice a joint for a couple of hours every day, or maybe maybe not all at once, but an hour in the morning, but if they're not doing heat or they're not doing the exercise to get the blood flow, you could be restricting. But you're not doing that.
No.
But the other thing I was going to say is also, like, for me, it was just I had to sit down and think about, like, okay, so I'm doing like basically a week and a half to 2 weeks of like doing rehab for my knee, and I'm going to jiu-jitsu once, maybe twice, and then I'm like back to square one. And this has been a recurring thing for the past like 6 months. It feels like, maybe not that long. I don't know.
The cycle, I definitely know.
But there are days that I've gone in and it's like I'm moving like I'm 15 years older than I am. Like I'm kind of limping when I'm getting up, like, and that's not fun either. But I've found that. So my plan is to focus on the knee rehab and keep doing my other stuff. But even just like being consistent with yoga the past 6 months, like even not training as often, when I go in, my body's able to perform the movements that are required of it. Mm-hmm. For the most part, when I'm not injured. So I feel really confident in my ability to really focus on conditioning my body to be able to move the way it needs to. And I think I'll be good if I can do jiu-jitsu once or twice a week, more or less for the rest of my life. I think I'll eventually get where I want to get, and it'll be really good sessions. I love training 4 or 5 times a week, but when I do that,
it's hard on the body, man.
I mean, I'm a big dude. I mean, maybe if I was like 150, it would be a little bit easier, but I got 200 pounds on top of that.
150-pound Caleb is not a thing.
It's not since 3rd grade, bro.
Dude, you're 6'4", man. There's no way. But okay, so that brings up an interesting question, though. Like, with it being your knee, do you feel like the extra weight that you're carrying around is also adding to the inflammation there?
For sure.
Yeah.
And so I would like to be closer to 300, and I am working on it, but not feverishly, not like a crazy person. I mean, there's like, I try to just be more logical about the decisions I make about food and things like that. And for me, it's hard. I like to eat late at night, and I like to drink beer. Like,
dude, the beer.
I know.
Whenever you're ready to give that up, that's when the weight's gonna leave, man.
For sure.
Because it eats your muscle, and it completely. I mean, every time I drink, my diet goes right out the window.
Yeah.
Like I never have successfully been drinking and been like solid on my diet, everything. You know, it doesn't happen at all. And it's also, I don't think it's good for your tendons or your joints or ligaments. I feel like it dries you out, you know?
Probably.
Yeah, I feel like it definitely dries you out. But, you know, I don't even think that weed is any better. I don't know.
I mean, there's definitely really harmful things about alcohol. There can be harmful things about weed, and I'm not making an excuse for alcohol. I think that it can have its place socially. I think drinking excessively and a bunch of hard liquor, I mean, you know, you've seen the damage that can cause to people's lives,
bro. But I've even seen just the damage of just beer. You know,
yeah.
I was just at this funeral not too long ago. The pastor, whose church I grew up going to, he passed away, and I went and saw a bunch of people that I haven't seen in 20 years since I've been to church, you know? And dude, this one cat showed up, the old drummer, right? And he was always a partier, you know, we would like smoke weed and stuff together, like back in the day. And he was older, like I don't know, I think now he's probably 50 or something like that. But he showed up to the funeral just straight hammered, just reeking like shit and smelling straight like alcohol. And he was just talking all this crazy stuff, and he was like, yeah, I quit drinking, you know, I don't drink that hard stuff anymore at all. I just drink the beer. And I was just sitting there thinking to myself, like, oh my God, dude, you're like a complete and total wreck.
Well, that's
an extreme case, but I have this huge beef, though, just because I think of the trauma of bartending, where I'm constantly catching people at their worst. You know, I'm constantly the one that has to enforce the rules when people are the least likely to even care about following any kind of rule.
Bro, have you looked at like your yearbook from high school and then went and looked people up on like Facebook or Instagram?
No.
So,
never. I mean, I have looked up some names that I remember, but it's hard to find people on Instagram.
So
I don't have a Facebook.
Definitely, like drinking and partying and smoking like can trash your body. But there are some people that do it and are active and like seem to be like decently healthy. And there are also people that like don't do any of that, but just don't understand nutrition and eat like trash and look horrible, totally trashed out. So I went and looked at. I'm not going to name any names. First of all, I don't remember any of them, but I looked, just grabbed, you know, our school was huge. We had like 1,200 people in my graduating class, but I was just like looking at people. It's like, oh, I kind of remember this kid. And just like, bro, busted.
Yeah, bro.
Busted.
Bro, and I'm working at the bar, right? And I see people from high school randomly, and I'm like, holy shit, man, what you been up to, dude?
Yeah.
You know, and you can tell they've just been partying
Yeah.
I mean, you know, they might be able to keep a job or whatever, but you can tell that they just, dude, huge belly, gray hair, just looking like skin just looking completely a mess. And I'm like, man, I'm not doing too bad for 37. I really am pretty down on myself a lot,
Yeah.
and I'm not doing too bad, but that's such a low bar though. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Well, sure. But it just, I think it goes to show you the power of an active lifestyle too.
Amen.
I mean, I'm not saying that your activity is going to overcome all of your bad decisions and
yeah,
like drug habits and alcoholism and all that stuff, but definitely like working out, drinking water every day,
yeah.
trying to eat some
Dude,
clean
water is
food
huge. Yeah.
at least part of the time, like it makes a huge difference. And I see that with my patients, my geriatric patients.
Oh, I bet.
Bro, speaking of old and busted, I was, you know, dating this girl, and I ended up it was one that I ended up marrying. She let me rephrase that. She was not old and busted, but I was telling Jonathan because I was like not sure about
Getting
like
married?
me and this girl were talking about marriage. Yeah, I wasn't sure. And he looked at me. And
How long ago was this?
This was like 2011.
Okay.
And he looked at me and he goes, "You're old and busted. You probably should go ahead and do it."
Oh my gosh.
And he probably said that not meaning anything but a joke.
Yeah.
But I was like in my like sensitive head at the moment, not like my have fun and screw around and talk shit head.
Yeah.
And I took that real serious.
Oh yeah. I've been in that same boat with Jonathan.
Yeah. I got married shortly after. And then I became old and busted. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah.
Made a lot of progress since then, but
Dude, that's funny. Jonathan has definitely texted me things we've had like where I'm trying to be serious, you know?
Yeah.
And he just comes back with a completely like not sarcastic, but just a complete opposite of what you want to hear.
I've put some thought into you and his communication.
Yeah.
And I will tell you what I think about it if you want to hear.
Yes, please.
So you, like me, you're an artistic person. You're a musician. You're like
Autistic.
that too, probably. Yeah. But you know, like if somebody tells me something in, you know, like maybe it's a friend. It's like, oh, I'm thinking about moving to Chicago. It'd be cool if you moved down there, or if you came and visited me, or something. Like, I will think about that, and I'm like, how hard would it be to get a ticket and do this and do that? I have to like think about if it's something I really want to do.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like next time I see them, they're like, oh no, I'm not moving. I was just thinking out loud.
Right.
And I think that you probably, like me, put, not all the time, but a lot of time, put real thought and effort into your words and the things you say. So those people that think out loud,
Yeah.
I think
It's
I had a learning curve of like learning how to
not be
deal
offended
with
by
my
it.
friends like that and people that I know like that.
Yeah.
Well, and not even necessarily offended, but just, you know, putting a lot of weight into people's thoughts and, you know, their little expressions.
That's
I don't think
true.
it's a bad thing. I think it's just like a self-aware, like, I know, like if somebody says something off the cuff like that, especially when it's something that might change my life a lot. So like I've had, you know, like a girlfriend talk about moving to some other state and doing this or starting a business with me. And it's like, I'll stay up 2 nights in a row thinking all through and trying to plan it out.
Yeah.
Cause I'm creative and I'm usually pretty good at putting things together and seeing how they're going to go.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm able to paint and I'm able to cook and I'm able to like, you know, I don't know, probably fuck up my life in other ways sometimes. But you know, like sometimes I'll meet somebody and right away I'm like, oh, there's no way I should be hanging out with this person or this. Like I'm able to put together all those. So this is a weird way to look at it, but I've learned that this is kind of the way I do my life is the way I play video games. Okay. So when I played video games, I was like, if I played 007 or I played Halo, like I wasn't always the best. I could get good eventually. But when I played like campaign modes, like solo, I wouldn't play the way other people would either. I would really like overly explore the open world really slowly and figure out how to like level up and collect coins and do this, whatever it is. Like,
You were
And
foraging.
Yeah, but very, very slowly. And what would happen is that it was kind of like a low. It wasn't that I wouldn't take risk, but instead of just running through the game and taking a bunch of risk, it was like I wanted a slow and steady path that would ultimately lead to my success.
Yeah.
And over a while, is this making sense? Does this sound totally retarded?
No, it's
Okay.
we kind of got lost on me and Jonathan's communication, but it doesn't even really matter.
No. But I'm just saying as far as my analogy here. So over time, I've kind of realized it's like, oh, that's kind of how I do things in my real life too. Like,
Yeah.
I'm kind of playing the long game sometimes, as opposed to being such an immediate risk taker. So I have to learn to take bigger risk that I'm not always as comfortable with sometimes.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to live forever. I can't be
Yeah.
like, well, I'm going to live 200 years. So if
Brother,
I play this
clock
shit,
is ticking.
I have no idea. Right. So
Yeah.
that's, I don't know. It's my self-awareness today, I guess.
No, I feel you 100%, man. I really do. It's
So when you're playing Pokemon Go, what's your style?
dude,
Be out in them streets, boy.
dude, my little nephew has actually recently turned me on to what Pokemon actually is, and I'll like come over to the house and he'll have his Pokemon all spread out on the table.
Yeah.
And he'll be like, Uncle Zach, would you like to check out my Pokemon collection? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Well, show me. And he's like, oh, well, this, he starts going into all the crazy names. And
Yeah.
I just feel old. And I'm like, God bless, the clock really is ticking, man. I don't have much
ticking
time.
away.
But dude, your point is interesting because the older we get, man, we have to learn how to take risk. Fortune favors the brave, man, and the bold. And you have to take I struggle with it too, man. Like, I'm a really good saver. I can save money really well, but come to find out, saving money doesn't mean shit. Saving money,
Yeah.
it doesn't mean
Not alone.
it doesn't mean anything unless you can put that money to work.
Yeah.
If you can invest it in something that's going to make more money. Otherwise, you just sit and let the government keep printing off money, completely devaluing the money that you have anyways. So it's just it's pointless to sit, man. And you can't get to a point where you're not just saving and you're reinvesting without taking some sort of risk. And it also requires more discipline because now you got skin in the game, and you really gotta, you gotta get
I'll tell you what you do, man. Whatever investment decisions I make the opposite. I'll tell you what I'm going to buy.
So no, I'm not investing in any rocks.
No, I mean, just every time, like, I don't know, it's stock market and I don't have much money in it right now, but every time I'm like, oh, I'm going to buy this. I think I have this information. I also have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah, no doubt.
So that's why it's like,
That's it.
yeah. I mean, it's like a couple grand. It's not.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
put
it's
it in the jiu-jitsu analogy, man. You're just like
Yeah.
a white belt stepping out on the mat with a bunch
Buying
of
some
black belts.
Dogecoin and some.
With a bunch of black belts, and they're just like beating the absolute
yeah.
shit out of you.
Yeah, people with real money. Yeah, well, I'll throw, like every once in a while, I'll throw $100, $200 on something, and it's like, well, because I like to go to the casino occasionally, but not very often. So it's like when I end up throwing some money on it's not Spotify. It's a green symbol on my phone. It's like Robinhood.
Right. Oh yeah, yeah.
So if I end up like throwing $100, $200 on something, I'm like, well, guess I'm not going to the casino for like 3-4 months. Like, because
What do you play at the casino?
I hardly ever go. I literally go like
What do you play?
slots. Really, I don't.
Oh my
I mean,
God,
just-
you're a slots player.
I mean, I don't. It just kind of. I don't know. I'll go and it's just like I'm going to take $100 and see what happens. I'll have a drink, whatever.
Have you ever come up big?
I've won some chunks of change in Vegas playing at like 4 a.m. But no, I mean, sometimes like I'll take in $100 and leave with 200 or 250. And usually it's like you get up to like 150 and then back down to 75. And if you're smart, you walk away then. And if not, you leave with like nothing.
Dude, I
Right.
could never get into gambling.
I don't really get into it.
Yeah, I
Like
get
that.
it. It's
I
just
mean,
a thing.
yeah.
It's just
It's
a
like-
thing you go do every now and then.
But I know people. I have plenty of other vices, so that's part of the reason that I don't go often
because you already know.
Well, I'm just like out of anything. I mean, I don't need something that I'm
another.
Gambling of all things. I mean, that's like I pay my bills,
bro. I got some friends that are big time gamblers and drinkers, and man, it's the most ridiculous. It's the most ridiculous thing you've ever seen in your entire life.
Do they have the money to?
No.
Yeah.
And they think they're investing. They think they're being investors.
In the casino?
No. They think they're like, they're like some sort of stockbroker out here about to flip some cash and make some big money moves, Yeah. And I've seen some people win money, win 30 G's or whatever, but it all goes right back in.
Yeah. They don't take that and buy a Section 8 house and flip it or something. They're like,
man, you think you can flip a Section 8 house for 30 G's? Probably.
Something like that. I mean, I know people that do stuff like that.
The owner of my bar owned, I think it was 100 or maybe 200 Section 8 houses on the north side of Tulsa.
There's a lot of stuff involved with that I don't really understand. I knew of someone that was doing something like that. I don't know if Section 8 is the right term, if that's what it was, but it was
low income housing.
Some really, like properties that you could get. I think it was basically like foreclosed Section 8 houses, maybe.
Yeah.
That just you would get for like $15,000 or $20,000. Yeah. And put in.
Yeah.
Some, another $15,000 or $20,000 and turn around and sell them for $100,000.
A lot of people like the Section 8 because the check comes from the government every month. Yeah. And it's never going to be late.
Bro, when I was renting my condo out at one point, I got this lady that worked for an oil company in Texas, and she was only up there like 2-3 days a week, and sometimes not even for weeks at a time. But that check came a week early every month.
Exactly.
From the oil company.
Exactly.
Like for 2 years. It was great. Yeah.
That consistency is a good feeling right there.
What's your dog doing over here, Zach?
I don't know, man. Mara's just out doing her thing, smelling books and, nose and stuff. That's what she does.
So what's up, man? We kind of faded off with some of the daily workouts and the, kind of trying to redirect some of that stuff. What you been doing in your workouts?
Man, I actually have just been, my workouts at the house were starting to just suck.
It's a hard place to work out sometimes.
Sometimes it's a great place to work out, and other times I have to get out of the house. And I started going back to the gym, and I've just been doing simple stuff, man. I'm trying to rehab my shoulder, so I've been doing very, very simple exercises. I've been trying to focus on getting abs and cardio and legs, and then I'll train like little upper body movements, and I want to get my triceps bigger, but I gotta have good shoulders to get big triceps. So
what are you gonna do with the big triceps, Zach?
Just gonna lift heavy shit and put it down. Yeah, and Kimura people in jiu-jitsu,
Popeye people,
choke them out, and maybe even start triangling. I really want to throw an omoplata, man.
Yeah,
God bless. I would feel like a true G if I threw an omoplata and got someone to tap. That would be amazing.
Oh, man, I don't think I've ever got an omoplata. My submission game is just like, it's white belt level. It's not. It
takes a while, dude.
I feel like positionally, because of my size and athleticism, like I understand, have some understanding. Like I do okay with that, but yeah, finishing out those submissions, especially like in our gym too,
bro. Me, man, at 5-stripe blue belt. Yeah. I have trouble finishing the submissions all the time, man. People are so good at defending them. And dude, sometimes I feel like I'm still like white belt level on like just my submission game in general, Like I got good at the Kimura and I figured out how to arm bar, and I was like, bet. Let's go.
Bro, you've cranked some nasty arm bars on me.
Yeah, man, they're fun, right?
Yeah. Oh, for you.
They're a lot of fun, man. I'm trying to finish it like mounted,
Yeah.
on top went from side control, and man, we've had some epic battles on that one. And every time I armbar you, man, it's terrifying, dude, because I know I at some point have to fully commit, and we're going to we're both going to the ground, and I have to finish it before you get the chance to get up.
Yeah,
and man, it's a lot of fun.
I think I'm gonna work on my flying triangles.
You gotta have good knees for flying triangles.
Yeah.
Oh my God, people be so mad at you. Dude. Oh man,
I still laugh at myself.
Caleb will only berimbolo you or flying.
Bro, I'm telling you, I do love the berimbolo, and I'm always looking for it. Even if I'm not doing it, I'm thinking about it. Like, oh, there's like.
It's a pretty cool move, man. I have yet to even berimbolo.
I really, and I'm at a very beginning understanding of that move, but I think I was telling you before that we used to do what we called Indian leg wrestling.
Yes,
and I think it's a very similar move. So you're basically you're reorientating someone in space.
Yeah. With
your leg up against their leg. Yes. Same concept. And so and that was also the first thing we did, the first class I ever went to.
Yeah. Like the first week you were there, it was like, all right, we're berimboloing. And I was like, man, there's no way Caleb can do this. And you were just like, wait, hold on, roll over my shoulder. All right, boom. And I was like, whoa.
So yeah, I don't know, and I mean, it's fun. Like, it's not like I would try to berimbolo someone in a street fight.
No, never. But it's fun on the mat.
Yeah, and not that I'm getting in street fights either, but I love
you might get in the street fight with Biker Fox. That's about the only street fight you're getting man. We're going to have Biker Fox back on, and we're going to have you here, and he won't even remember you because he gets yelled at so much. And maybe this time we'll get something good out of him.
I don't think it was bad last time. You got to ask him about some interesting stuff. He's a different kind of dude. There's some people in Tulsa that definitely don't like him, and there's some people in Tulsa that do. He had some good points about me. He seemed to be out enjoying himself.
That's true, man. He did have some good things to say.
Makes some good money. He's got a lot of raccoon friends.
Man. Actually, Biker Fox is really living the life, man. Yeah. He's crushing it. I mean,
we need a different identity.
Different. Oh, yeah. Oh shit. Yeah, you're right. Okay.
And some costumes.
What do you? I don't know about costumes, but
I don't know. I mean, Jonathan calls me the roaming ribeye. I'm not sure.
I don't know if that's the alter ego. I don't know if that's the alter ego you want. That's your or that's not your Instagram. That's your TikTok.
Yeah,
your TikTok handle.
Yeah, I haven't messed with that much in a little bit. I had some fun making some weird videos. So there's this Velociraptor impression I used to do. Did I show you this video?
Oh,
I used to do it when I was
a Velociraptor.
A dinosaur impression, whatever. But it was like when I was in high school, like 9th grade, I would do it all the time. And when I got COVID in October of 2020, I just thought about that. I made a video of me doing it, and then I don't want to make a bunch of videos of me acting ridiculous. I have no shame. I mean,
hey man, I'm sure you get plenty of practice working on your Velociraptor impersonation when you're out there hunting and pecking for those fossils,
bro. I was at work today, and I was carrying this, like a foldable rolling walker, like a aluminum walker, and I put it down, unfolded it, and I put it on stepped into it like a backwards jacket, and I was like, Transformers, some robots. Dude, this guy started doing this robot thing in the hallway, not realizing there was family members of a patient standing behind me. And my coworkers just looking at me, and I was like, I don't know, I'm gonna enjoy my day. I don't care what you do.
Sorry guys, Caleb's an artist.
Oh bro, I sit on these mat tables that we'll stretch people on and stuff for therapy. We have this meeting every week that takes an hour, and we go over a bunch of stuff. And I literally I was stretched the whole time, sitting there stretching my hips out and people used to look at me real weird, but now they're just kind of used to it. It's like, oh, he's like, one of my coworkers was like, "Are you self-stimming?" I'm like, "What?" She's like, "Are you self-stimulating? You know, like, are you autistic?" I was like, "I don't know, but I need this to pay attention, and I got to do jujitsu later, and I need my hips to be loose. So this is what we're doing."
Oh man! So this is what we're doing.
We did well. And one day I showed him. You know, when I first started, I was like, when I learned how to do a tactical stand up and like a shoulder roll and different, like a forward roll, I was like, I hadn't done anything like that in a long time, and I was impressed with myself. So I was showing my coworkers in the break room, and there's another guy that's my size that works there that has done some jujitsu. And I guess that, like, a couple days later, I wasn't there, but he was, and they were like, "Hey man, Caleb did this. You know, these two things." They had it on a snap or something. Somebody like snapped it. And so they showed him, is like, "Can you do that?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, I can do it." But he hadn't trained him like a minute.
Long time.
And so I guess he about broke his body doing a tactical stand up and trying to do a front roll on a hard floor too. It wasn't a mat.
No, that's a lot.
And like the next time I saw him at work, he pulled me aside and he's like, "Bro, you got to give me a heads up. You're going to be pulling this bullshit at work."
Pulling this bullshit.
And I was like, "I didn't know they were going to corner you. And why didn't you just say no?" Like,
you should tell them, "Hey bro, you better start stretching at those meetings."
Yeah. Oh man.
Well, shit, man. I think I think it's been a good podcast, man. I think we'll be happy to have Jonathan back next week. Start thinking about some new guests and just chopping it up again. And maybe you'll bring some more rocks with you next time.
I did. Yeah. I brought my rocks just to show Zach they were real.
And okay, in his defense, I do believe that 2 of them are probably for sure arrowheads. So just to get that out there.
Thank you, Zach. I feel justified. Justice for my rocks. I'm gonna buy a glass case tonight.
Oh man, yes, get a glass case for those for sure, man. And thanks for tuning in, guys. We appreciate you.
Have a good one.